Michelle Weatherall is here in the studio this morning. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
You've been around town. You've been on the news. You've been on the TV. You've been on the radio.
Yeah.
And are you comfortable?
I am.
Yeah.
Let's just see how this goes forward. But yeah, I am. I'm pretty much.
And let's bring him in right now. We've got Ian Shaw, who's the chair of the organizing committee for Pros in the Park. Ian Shaw, good morning.
Good morning.
Sounding good. Where are you calling in from, Ian? Where are you hanging your hat today?
I live in Elmer, Quebec.
Yeah, how's it on that side of the river? Were you affected by any flooding or anything like that?
No, I'm on the high ground, so I'm okay.
All right. Well, we certainly send out our thoughts and sending out strength to everyone. There's still a lot of cleanup, a lot of work to be done from the flooding that's happened. But I wanted to have you guys on. We were connected recently, Ian, from a fellow that runs the Blackburn Hamlet Cancer Chase, and he suggested that it might be good to have you on the show. And I'm grateful that we were able to put a couple pieces of the puzzle together for the Pros in the Park event. It's coming up on June the 10th. This is the third year. And Michelle, you are an author.
I am.
And you are many things. You're an artist. You're a musician.
Yeah, I like to think so.
Yeah. And was it piano or?
Piano and drums.
And when did you start writing?
Books, you mean?
Yeah.
Originally, that's a tough question. Originally, the first book in the series, The Symbiote, was written about 23 years ago. And it sat in a desk drawer for the longest time. And then it was only within the last 2 years that I decided to self-publish, finish off the second, and then finish the third off. And that took about 13 months for the third one.
Now, Ian, the Pros in the Park event, let's paint a picture of it's first of all, it's going to be sunny. I'm guaranteeing a sunny day because it's an outdoor event. It's in Hintonburg. I noticed on the website, and I put the website up on our show page for folks to find, prosinthepark.com. But just paint a picture of last year's event and what's happening this year that might be added, or it seems huge. It's amazing.
It is a large event. All told, there's about 140 panelists, moderators, and other people involved in the 11 events during the day. So it's quite large. It's for established and emerging authors. So this year we have, very established authors such as Sean Michaels from Montreal, who's the 2014 Giller Prize winner. And we have Catherine Leroux, who's the winner of the Prix France-Québec 2014, and the English translation of her book, The Party Wall, was also a finalist this year, in 2016 rather, for the Giller Prize. So we have major authors coming, but we also have emerging authors. There are panelists as well. And so that's for the literary festival part. For the book fair part, we have 90 authors, of which 66 are English authors and 24 are Francophone authors. So we try to maintain this bilingualism, roughly around the split of Ottawa-Gatineau between French and English, which Ottawa-Gatineau is about, it's about 27% French and about 73% English. So we maintain that, and it's very good. We're really the only bilingual festival in Ontario. And there aren't very many festivals like that, literary festivals in Canada that are bilingual, so we maintain that very well. We have Trillium Prize winners among the French panelists. So it's a big event. It's tented. It's very colorful. There's blue tents, there's white tents, there's gray tents, there's all of that type of stuff. And we have quite a few publishers this year. We have 18 publishers and one publication. Art Poetry Magazine is going to be there. And the publishers come from places like Toronto, Sudbury, one as far as New Brunswick, and they bring their books. Most of them are small press publishers as opposed to the very large publishers. So it's a little bit like Word on the Street in Toronto in that sense. So people come. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. It's kid-friendly, so the playgrounds remain open, so people can bring their kids.
Yeah, I love the map. I love the map that's on the website. Just the overall look. It looks like it's going to be an awesome. It's right at the bounded by Armstrong and Hamilton streets, I believe, in
That's right. It's right beside the Parkdale Market, that small outdoor.
Michelle is just writing this down now because he wasn't sure where he was going.
He's been there twice before.
You know what? It's amazing. And is all of this happening in one day or over the weekend?
Happens in one day.
Yeah.
You know, at 8 o'clock in the morning, we're there setting up tents.
That's incredible.
We get them all up by. We get 32 tents up by before 10 o'clock.
I mean,
The authors set up, and then we start at 11 o'clock.
even if you spent, 5 minutes with each invited author, you would be there.
That's your day right there.
That's your day.
Yeah.
And
And some people stay the whole day, and some people stay for an hour in and out. It's
Now-
up to them.
Ian, let's since we're on the radio, and let's give a shout out to some of your other organizing key volunteers. I'm sure you didn't pull this off alone. If you did, I know a few people would like to call you and bring you on board with them.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, there's Bill Horn that you mentioned, the fellow that was organizing the cancer run. He's been there since the beginning. He took a short break. He's on the QE2 now, coming from England back to Canada after a short holiday. He's a key organizer. So that's from. He's also vice president of the Ottawa Independent Writers, my organization. There's Eric Charlebois, who is the president of the l'Association des auteurs de l'Ontario français, which is our francophone partner in the organization, and they arrange the French program. And his his director general is Yves Turbet, who again since the beginning has been a key player. We have from the Capital Crime Writers, Michael Murphy, who's the president of the Capital Crime Writers, a great guy, and he's been, organizing the crime writers panels for 3 years now. We have also on the Quebec side, on the francophone side, there's the l'Association des auteurs de l'Outaouais, who joined us for the first year, and they're supporting us financially and also helping out by getting their members out to the fair. We also have the Ottawa Storytellers who have joined us for the first time, and they'll have 5 storytellers. This is oral storytelling, and
Really?
Jan
That's gonna be
Andrew
cool.
is one of them. And the list just goes on. But I would like to say one thing, if I can plug it.
Sure.
On June 10th, anyone that wants to come at 8 o'clock in the morning and be a volunteer to help put up the tents, the tables, the chairs, that would be most welcome.
So you need some setup
The more
volunteers.
volunteers we have, the faster it goes.
Yeah, and I would imagine also at the end of the day, a little bit of tidying up would probably be appreciated
Right.
by the Wellington West
Help with the
BIA,
agenda. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely, and the Wellington West BIA is also a big sponsor, and our community sponsor is the Hintonburg Community Association, the Hintonburg Economic Development Committee, and they actually get us the park, and they provide about half the chairs and tables, and they're wonderful. And
Now, will there be snacks? Will there be snacks if people are coming there for the day, or should they bring? Their
There's
own?
restaurants all around that area.
Okay.
That's right. Like Michelle said, the area is well endowed with restaurants. There's
Yes.
a Carlton Tavern, which actually has very good food. It's just across. And on Wellington Street, which
Okay.
is, a minute walk.
So it's a
There's
win.
actually
It's a win-win.
And the market's right beside it.
Gelato
I mean,
place,
fruit.
which is 100 feet from the main stage. So we don't have food vendors because we want people to patronize local establishments. But those people that want to bring a brown bag lunch, that's fine too. They can eat in the park.
Great. Ian, this is amazing. Now, if it is going to go ahead, rain or shine, because you have tents, so because people just need to dress appropriately, I would imagine too.
Yeah.
So,
Don't worry.
I want to
Please
turn
don't.
things over to Michelle Weatherall. Join me in studio, and so what got you involved with this, and what are you what are you excited about?
You know what really I like so much about Pros in the Park is for the local author or the independent author, the people that go so far as to write the material, get it out there and get published, whether it's self-published or otherwise. The next step is getting it out. And that can be a challenge, especially if you don't have the connection, especially if you're smaller or local. You can do the Coles, you can do chapters, you can do the local bookstores, and they're great to be done.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're not a name. So
Well, I was thinking about that because we're focused on music here, and I have to admit I'm not a huge reader. My family would probably attest to that, other than a series of Charlie Brown books in the early days. But I did start reading one of your books online, and I was very impressed. Your
Thank
knowledge and the amount of work and research that would go into penning something like you have done with that series. And you've got a sequel again. The book was called
the first one's The Symbiote. The second one is The Hunt.
And so with musicians, they've got all these online band camps and Spotify's, and they kind of have to throw their music out there. I don't know if they're making a heck of a lot of money, but it's about getting the awareness.
That's
and
right.
so for an author, a
It's
written
exposure.
word, is there an equivalent to the Spotify's and the band camps for authors?
I'd like to think ultimately Pros in the Park is something similar to that, because it's a great avenue to get out there. And the nice thing about it is people that show up at Pros in the Park, they know what they're going into. It's local authors. They know they already have an interest in it. So there's a vested interest when they show up. And it's a great opportunity to chit-chat with authors, and as well as up-and-coming authors or people that want to start writing. Like Ian said, there's publications, there's publishers there, as well as small press publishers. So you could start getting in dialogues, you can start making connections, you can start interacting that way.
Instead of just in your basement hoping for the best.
Well, that's right. That's what, that can be a scary thing. Where do you go from there,
Yeah. And you, what genre do you specialize in? Is it?
Oh, I get it. I hate answering that question.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, the answer is
Yikes.
horror. But the reason why I don't like saying horror is most stuff we see today in movies and TV and literature that's classified as horror is all gore, shock, and splatter. And I think horror should be more cerebral. I think Hitchcock had the better idea that it's not what you see that scares you, it's what you don't see.
Yes.
Your imagination can paint a picture much worse than anything I could describe. And I think in modern days, whether it's in written or in movies, we've lost that because they've gone with the gratuitous gore.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like answering horror.
Okay,
because
sorry.
That's I don't apologize. It's a great opportunity to talk about that too, because a lot of times that comes up when I'm doing book signings or events, and as soon as you get this going, people are interested because they're not looking for the splatter. They're not looking for that. They're looking for something a bit more intellectual.
Do you try to avoid reading other people's work just so they don't like plagiarism? You just get an idea and you can't remember where it came from?
Not deliberately, but lately, and I got asked that, I think it was on, I forget where I was interviewed, and I was asked, what do I read? And the sad thing is, within the last year and a half, writing the Refuge Chronicles, that's the last installment of the series, I haven't had time to do much of any reading. I've been reading comics, really, sadly.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
about
I'm right
the
there with
extent
you
of it. Yeah, well, hey, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that.
I want to ask maybe either one of you on this. If someone is, if they've had an idea or a passion for word, first of all, get yourselves out to Pros in the Park on June the 10th, rain or shine. What do you recommend that they do? Is it like songwriting? Just write every day, sit down, keep a journal?
I would say, yeah, just do it. I mean, I know it's true for me, and it's true for other people that I've spoken to. I think one of the biggest things that holds you back is fear. I think there's a book in everybody, and I think it's fear that holds us back from taking the next step. And I don't want to come across as preachy here. I'm terrified when it comes to putting my stuff out there, because maybe I have a good poker face, but that's not what it's like on the inside. It is scary to go out and take that step, but you got to do it.
And when you send something into a publisher, is there an expectation of how it should be packaged? Is this something that people can learn if they come to the event?
I think they could. I mean, Ian might want to voice in on that one. I'm self-published, so I don't usually go through those avenues.
Yeah, I would say, Jeff, what's also important is to join a writers group. So there's several in the city,
Okay.
And, writing can be a very lonely process. When you go to a writers group, you go to monthly meetings and workshops, it really helps. And even if you haven't put, one word on a piece of paper, it's never too soon to join up with other writers and get advice. And the question is about how to get published, how to self-publish, how to lay out your book, all that type of stuff. If you go to a writers group and you join them, you'll get those answers from other writers. People have gone through that process. It's extremely helpful.
All right, it's 7:26 here at 93.1 CKCU. We're talking with Michelle Weatherall, local author, and Ian Shaw, the chair of the organizing committee for Pros in the Park that's coming to Ottawa on June the 10th. I put the link up on our show page to the website. Go to CKCU-FM.com. Click on programs, look for Thursday Blend Early, and you'll find the playlist. I'm going to put each of you on the spot here right now, a few minutes to go. You've already name-dropped a couple of people, Ian. I would say if I'm going there, and what would your top 4 things or people be to connect with at Pros in the Park this year?
Well, someone who likes music, you should see Shawn Michaels on a panel which is called The Musicality of Fiction. Shawn Michaels wrote the book Us Conductors, and it's about Leon Theremin, who invented the theremin instrument.
Oh, okay.
And so that's a very interesting panel. I would see also Catherine Leroux. She's on an English panel and a French panel. She's an excellent author. In English, her book is called The Party Wall. I'd also come to the opening ceremony because we have Jim Watson there.
Okay.
Mayor Jim Watson, who will open the whole ceremony. And I would come to the award ceremony for the Frank Hedgie Award for Emerging Authors.
Oh, that's brand new this year, isn't it? That's brand new this year?
And it's a national award, and we have incredible authors that were shortlisted. 2 of the finalists will physically be there, and 3 others will have designated readers. And it's only at Pros in the Park will we find out who the winner is of this award.
And roughly when will that be announced? When will that be announced?
That's announced at 2 o'clock. Yeah.
About 2 o'clock.
2 to 3 is the award ceremony.
Are there any local-ish authors that have made the final cut?
No one from Ottawa made the final cut, but there were about 10 people from Ottawa that submitted. We had 47 submissions in total. We had to disqualify 7 on technical grounds, so 40 were kept, and there was a long list of 10 and a short list of 5, and then we'll find out who the winner is. But the finalists come from Calgary, Montreal, a couple from Toronto, and one living in England right now.
Wow.
Emma Hooper. She's from Saskatchewan originally.
Wow. And Michelle?
So, it is quite a national award, and it's not every day that Canada gets a new literary award like the Frank Hedgie Award.
Well, this will be great. That's at 2 o'clock. And Michelle, what's your top 4?
Oh, God.
I told you to put you on the spot.
I was hoping to have a different question for me. Be honest with you, I've been more focused on doing promos and getting the word out than I have actually. I've been looking back as opposed to looking forward as what I'm looking forward to doing. I'm just going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to once.
Well, where will people find you?
I'll be in tent number 4.
Okay, tent number 4. You don't know what color that is, though, do you?
No, I don't.
It's blue. It's blue.
Oh,
all right.
There we go.
Blue.
So it's the blue tent. For Michelle Weatherall. Well, what were you hoping that I'd ask you?
I don't know. I'm hoping you're asking something simple.
Oh, man. Well, this sounds like it's going to be a great event. It's 3rd year. Yeah. Take us back into how has it grown? How much has it grown since year 1 to year 3? Can you express it in terms of numbers of participants, showcases?
Right. So in each year, we roughly get about 150 panelists and moderators and other people on the stage. And at the same time, we get about 90 local authors. Local also can, from other cities, from Toronto and Montreal and Kingston. So that gives you the scope of it. So with the volunteers and everyone all together, we have over 250 people. I email and I, have all these exchanges for several months ahead of time. It takes a long time to organize. So in terms of attendance, the first year we estimated about 1,200 people turned up, based on 300 per hour, roughly. And then it was full all the time. And the second year, it would drop down to about 1,000. And the reason for that was it was on the same day as Westfest. So the audience was somewhat split. This year, we think it'll be between 1,000 and 2,000.
Wow.
And we'll see. If we get to 2,000, we've saturated the park.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
good.
absolutely. And so folks are going to want to get there early. And for people listening to the program, a lot of people do like to volunteer. So on the website for Pros in the Park, there is a link to volunteer that you can fill that out and get that information in, because certainly, as Ian mentioned, they need people there at 8 o'clock in the morning. If not, I don't know if we want anybody there even before 8, but let's say 8 o'clock for sure. All hands on deck to help set up for Pros in the Park on June the 10th. We've been talking with Ian Shaw. Ian, thank you for joining us this morning. And Michelle Weatherall, thank you as well.
It's a pleasure being here.
All right, guys. And so all the best, and we'll hope to see everyone out at Pros in the Park. And thank you for participating this morning in the program. Michelle Weatherall is here in the studio.